Criminal justice reforms in America. Some key areas of criminal justice reform in the United States up to that point. Sentencing reform. Efforts have been made to reform sentencing laws, especially mandatory minimum sentences for non-violent drug offenses. The aim is to reduce the length of sentences and provide judges with more discretion in sentencing. Bail and pretrial reform. Some states and localities have been working to reform bail systems to address issues related to wealth-based detention. Reforms often aim to provide alternatives to cash bail and ensure that individuals are not detained solely because they cannot afford bail. Prison and jail reform. There has been a focus on reducing overcrowding in prisons and improving conditions for incarcerated individuals. Reforms include expanding rehabilitation and educational programs, addressing solitary confinement practices, and promoting re-entry support for released prisoners. Juvenile justice reform. Efforts have been made to address the treatment of juveniles in the criminal justice system. This includes raising the age of juvenile jurisdiction, limiting the use of solitary confinement for juveniles, and promoting alternatives to incarceration for young offenders. Policing reforms. Police reform has been a significant area of focus, with discussions about use of force policies, body cameras, training in de-escalation techniques, community policing, and efforts to build trust between law enforcement and communities. Racial disparities. Addressing racial disparities within the criminal justice system has been a central concern. Efforts include collecting and analyzing data on racial disparities, implementing implicit bias training, and reviewing practices that disproportionately impact communities of color. Drug policy reform. Some states have legalized or decriminalized the use of marijuana, and there has been a shift in focus from punitive measures towards treatment and rehabilitation for individuals with substance use disorders. Mental health and diversion programs. Diversion programs and specialized courts, such as mental health courts, have been established to direct individuals with mental health issues away from the traditional criminal justice system and toward appropriate treatment and support. Collateral consequences reform. Efforts have been made to address the numerous collateral consequences of criminal convictions, such as barriers to employment, housing, and voting rights for individuals who have served their sentences. Death penalty and capital punishment. Some states have introduced moratoriums on the death penalty or have abolished it altogether due to concerns about fairness, effectiveness, and the risk of executing innocent individuals. It's important to note that the status of criminal justice reform can vary widely by state and locality, and ongoing discussions and initiatives may have evolved since my last update. For the most current information, I recommend consulting reputable sources, such as government websites, advocacy organizations, and news outlets.